Okay. Friends liking things. So, sorry if there's noise from outside. I'm currently working on a Jury Master of the Revue. Ooh, that's not gonna be perfect. Whatever. Um, Rakdos, Sakdos. It's a sacrifice deck. It probably won't look pretty. It's just gonna be me talking to myself for the most part. That's YouTubing them. So we've got unsleeved cards here. You're gonna see these. You're gonna see a fair few of these. I also have sleeved cards here. This was a deck that Jury was part of. That was a temporary 60 card deck that I threw together because I got an Omnixos, the adversary, and the old Jury, the deck that I had that was a commander, had all of my goblins in it, which I eventually turned into its own commander. So I pulled half the deck. So I lost the token production. I lost the cards that I had in there for sacrifice. Um, so I just opted, to make a 60 card deck until I had, stuff for it. And I've slowly been sorting through cards and I'm buying more cards and then not sorting them. And so I finally decided, you know what, time to look through most of my stuff to see if I have enough to make a deck. Fairly certain I do. So that's kind of just what I'm working on. I tend to talk to myself, and I thought, it might be interesting. Hey, do I do this or this type thing? And get input. I've got sleeves on the way. I got Rakdos sleeves because it's Rakdos. I'm not going to not run it. So, I mean, that's a summary of what I'm doing. I don't know if people care, slash, it doesn't matter. I've got an Ozoeth. I own an Ozoeth. I bought it when it was like $10 for the foil, but then it went to $20 and I just don't have money, so I'm not going to buy another. So I have this old proxy that I made for a different deck that got disassembled. And so I've got this. It exists. It's an Ozoeth proxy. It's not pretty, but it works. It functions as an Ozoeth would. So I don't care. That's my opinion. I own one. I'm too broke to buy another. Whatever. I'm not paying $20 for a new one. Um, I have a pile of lands here. I pulled the lands out of the sleeved and non-sleeved piles of cards. Um, I think the most notable ones that I have in here are the Cabal Coffers, the foil Cabal Coffers that I bought and I'm really happy about. Um, and then I've got Rakdos Guildgate, Cinder Barons, Blood Crypt. And that's the only non. Oh, I've got tramway stations and the sleeved stuff, but that's the only non-basic lands in here. So I'm gonna just be mostly running basic lands. Um, I do know I have in here because Jury is whenever you sacrifice a permanent, which is really nice for tokens, especially nowadays since there's so many more means of production. I know I have in here Sticky Fingers. Creatures have menace. One deals combat damage to player. You create a treasure token. Um, I've got Jaxus, which basically gives things Blitz, which, if you're unaware, is, you can play it, it gets haste. You sacrifice it at the end step if it didn't die. I've got, Body Dropper, it gets +1/+1 when you sacrifice permanents, just like what Jury does. That's why I'm running the Ozoeth. So if Jury dies, all of his counters go to the Ozoeth, and when he dies, he deals damage equal to his power to the Ozoeth. Then you can play him again, you put the Ozoeth counters back on Jury, and that's great. The same applies to Body Dropper, except you won't play it again. So most likely you'll just put the counters from this back on Jury. Um, Another thing that I have this pretty art Shadow Mortality. It's not good, but for a commander, it's not terrible. Especially because playing Rakdos, you oftentimes will hit yourself with damage. Um, Tenacious Underdog, paying 2 life, Blitz from the graveyard. You're getting pretty much all the recursion you need. But the main one is Professional Face Breaker. Love this card. 2/3 menace. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And so you just create a bunch of treasure tokens, and then you just sacrifice them all. You don't even need to sacrifice. Mana burn doesn't exist. You don't have to worry about being mana burned. So you could just sacrifice the tokens to give the counters to Juri. And then you can sacrifice Juri to something to deal 20 damage to someone's face. So there's a lot of things in here that either have, sacrifice triggers, or one things die, or create things to sacrifice. That's kind of just the staple. It used to be, I used to have it so it would be, I would use goblins, I'd use both Krankos. I personally think the newer Kranko is bad. There's only one card that I know that makes it valid, and that's Bravado. It's an old card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature in play, so it's very exponential growth. I did math on it in a Discord chat between friends and I, and it is so exponential that in 10 turns without any interference, I don't remember how much it creates, but it creates like triple the amount of tokens than the old Kranko if he was just chilling for 10 turns. Here, let me go look. I'm listening to music in headphones that is copyright, sadly. Yeah, so on turn 15, with Bravado and the new Kranko, you will have 101,053 tokens in play, or goblins in play. That's including Kranko. The old Kranko, with his just, tap every turn to create a goblin equal to the amount of goblins you control. On turn 15, the goblins in play is 65,000. So it's pretty large margin of difference. So yeah, that's the only way the new Crankle's good. Sorry, went off on a tangent. I'm gonna do that a lot. This is probably gonna be a fairly long recording. I will say that there's I used to run goblins and then just had like a goblin bombardment in here. With a fan, sorry. I used to run goblin bombardment, so you just sack 10 goblins and with goblin bombardment, and you would hit them for 10, and then you would sacrifice Juri and hit them in the face again for another 10. And normal, and commander, you would do it with 30, and that's how you'd win. I could proxy a Kedis, I think is how his name is pronounced. But that's really iffy with Juri and how his sacrifice dealing damage equal to its power works. I don't think that's counted as commander damage. Sorry, I'm looping a song. So I don't think that's counted as commander damage, so Kedis wouldn't really be the best option. So I'm just gonna opt out of having a Kedis in here. There is somewhere in here, I know I'm probably going to run a few backgrounds, just because background is an interesting mechanic. I don't like it, personally. I think partner works better, and if you'd given enchantments partner, it would have been more interesting, but I understand you need new mechanics. So, I will run them just as normal enchantments if I have space. If I don't, I probably won't. Fuck if I know. So, Alt Art Ob Nixilis is going in. Casualty X. You create a copy with X loyalty. That isn't legendary. That's just stupid. Especially because, he creates... devils, when they die, it deals 1 damage to any target. Oh, any target. That's just good. I don't know how to say that's not good, especially when you're sacrificing them. Oh yes, I'm going to create a 1/1 red devil and just immediately sack it to ping you in the face for 2 effectively. I'm running Caverick. Well, I'm probably gonna run Caverick the Merciless. 5 a black and a red, kind of expensive. But he is legendary. 5/4. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, Caverick the Merciless deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to any target. That's really good. I have a friend who's working on Hydras. I think black, green, blue Hydras. So scary Hydras. Um, and so if you're gonna ping them, you're gonna ping them hard. Same, they have a deck called Rampdrazi that might be changed into Commander here soon. That's terrifying. It's Eldrazi. You're just ramping into Eldrazi, so yeah, Eldrazi's aren't cheap mana-wise, so hopefully that's an answer. I would love to run Agnes the Dragon Slash. I was running it in the 60 card Sakdos. I can't because he's sadly black, red, green. I just can't run him. I love him though. I want to make a Vashino. I think that's how you pronounce it. Tribal deck, but there's not terribly anything good. Unlucky Witness is a weird one. 1 cost 1/1 when it dies, exile the top 2 of your library. Until your next step, you can play one of those cards. It's not bad. It's good in Commander. I just don't like the red mechanic of exiling and playing. That's just not how I like to play. I like to play red for its aggro. Antagonize isn't terribly good. Corpse Hour is a fun one. You know, it's 1 in a black, 2/1. You can pay 2 in a black to sacrifice it to return another creature card to your hand. It's a bit of recursion, and it's a creature, and you sacrifice them. So, yeah. Tenacious Underdog. I know I have 2 of those. I know I have alt art that I'd rather run. Fake Your Own Death is something I might stick in. Do I have 2 professional face breakers? Oh, I do. I was confused because one of them is foil, and I was like, weren't you foil the last time I looked at you? Sticky Fingers. I'm gonna throw in some Blitz, but like Girder Goons, I don't know how long that'll last in the process. Fatal Grudge. Sacrifice a non-land permanent. Each opponent chooses a permanent that shares a type and sacks it. Draw a card. For a black and a red, that's really good. That's a fair bit of value, especially in a deck made to sacrifice things. Okay, just a little pause. I'm living with my parents who know, and it's kind of late at night, so everyone's starting their simmer down thing. So I kind of just finished looking through cards. I put out the Alt-Art Tenacious Underdog. Rogue's Gallery isn't terrible. It's better in more colors, but it's 2 in a black for each color return 1 target creature of that color from graveyard to your hand. You can still bring back good stuff. You can bring back multicolored stuff. Say it's black and then grab a red card if you want. Shadow of Mortality is kind of one of those iffy ones that I'm kind of putting in that sideboard pile of if I have space. Warlock class, the main key for that is at the beginning of your end step of creature day this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Sacrifice deck. You're gonna always have stuff dying. Fatal Grudge, Professional Facebreaker, Corpse Hauler, Forge Boss, Body Dropper, Jax is the Troublemaker, and Sticky Fingers. So that's all of the sleeved stuff that I'm pulling out. I've got a little pile of maybe stuff that I think the most interesting thing from it is Pugnacious Pugilist, Graveyard Shift, Shadow of Mortality, and actually one of my favorite cards in the set. Tavern's Dwindle, 1 in a black, 2/2. Tap, pay through life, flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. It's a fun one. It's black life gain. Life gain. You're gambling. I like gambling. And I have a friend who's probably gonna come to me after this and say, you'd like gambling too much. Magic gambling is fun. Krark is a great card. Krark the Thumbless. One of my favorite cards, and actually I have him. I have a Is It deck, and he's in here. He's sideboarded in here. His ability is he's a 1 in a red, 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, return that spell to its owner's hand. If you win the flip, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Really fun. Really fun. Gambling is never bad, especially it's always you're not needing consistency in that or anything. No, but it's a gimmicky deck. I'm not running any counter spells in it as far as I'm aware. So it's more of just a fun. Hey, I ping you for 3, I ping you for 2. So running Krark in a sideboard is just like how chill do I want it to be? How much funnier do I want it to be? Pitbull, Rakish Instigator, 2 in a red. Passive, opponents can't gain life. That's just good. Ooh, another land. I forgot I had this. Castle Locked-In. Love Castle Locked-In. It's a great card. Okay, another quick pause there. Just so you know, the only editing I do is the pausing for OBS. So, yeah, I don't have an editing software, so I do it all myself. I've got a terrible computer that can barely run OBS, so even pausing is fantastic. I did find the 3 backgrounds I have. I'm probably going to cut one of them. That'll be the last one I read. The one that I'm most interested in, actually, the 2 that I'm most interested in are Cultist of the Absolute and Street Urchin. Cultist of the Absolute, 1 black. Commander creatures you own get +3/+3, have flying, death touch, ward, pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice creature. For Juri, sacrificing the creature at the beginning of your upkeep and the +3/+3 are both really, really awesome abilities. At least, personally. No, I'm not a, scholar of Magic. I'm not professional. This is just, in my opinion, that's most likely one of the best backgrounds you can be running for Juri. I know Juri's probably a pretty shit commander for sacrifice in Rakdos, but it's what I've got. I'm not buying any cards. I'm playing with what I've got. So, for what I've got, Juri's a fun card. I'm making the deck for fun, not to be competitive commander. The next one is Street Urchin. Commander creatures you have pay 1, sacrifice another creature or an artifact. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. Sacrifice half of my tokens to sacrifice the other half of my tokens to ping people for damage while growing Juri. And then the one that I'm probably going to cut, Scion of Halaster. 1 in the black. Commander creatures you own have the first time you would draw a card each turn, instead look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your graveyard, the other back on top of your library, then draw a card. I don't have that much graveyard recursion, as upsetting as that is. It's just, I've got it all in other decks. Yeah, so paused again. I've got all my recursion in other decks because I have other decks that run recursion. So, yeah. So, just a quick, I went through multicolored. I have this here that's just, I've got a few cards. Showstopper. I'm not going to read all of them off. I'm going to read off some of the key ones that I think probably work the best. Showstopper, 1 red-black. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain 1. This creature dies, it deals 2 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Explanatory. Magnorath's Rampage, 1 black, 1 red. Choose 1. Target player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or planeswalker, effectively. And that's, I can choose myself for that. Or, I don't like you having that singular artifact that you have, sacrifice an artifact. So, yeah. Allure of the Unknown, 3 black red. Reveal the top 6 cards of your library, and opponent exiles a non-land card from among them. Put the rest in your hand. That opponent may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. In a deck where half of it is saying, sacrifice this, more likely that they're gonna hit a sacrifice creature than a sacrifice fodder, and if it's sacrifice fodder, it's sacrifice fodder. Angrath, Minotaur Pirate. I have one. Might as well run him. His -11, destroy all creatures target opponent controls. He deals that much damage to that player equal to their total power. Eldrazi. That's all I have to say. Kraxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. This is a fun one. 1 black, 1 red. If it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Immediate sacrifice trigger. Awesome. Whenever he ETBs or attacks, each opponent discards a card, and then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. Then he's got escape 2 black, 2 red, exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. Like I said, not much recursion. He's a 6/6, so he has that instant ETB sack. And then you play him as a 6/6 who's effectively either going to be attacking a lot, or he's just going to be sitting there as a defender. I don't know how good this card is, and I'm going to have to ask people to give me opinions if people comment. Raphael, Fiendish Savior, 3 black red, 4/4 flying. Other demons, devils, imps, and tieflings you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. I'm gonna have a few of each. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card is put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. I'm gonna have to ask about that one. I think it's fairly good to run. I'm not sure. Footlight Fiend, red or black, 1/1. When it dies, deals 1 damage to any target. It's a ping devil. It's a sack fodder for 1. Whatever. Brawlbash Ogre, 2 black red. 3/3 menace. Whenever he attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, he gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Balduvian Atrocity, that's one of the new ones. 2 in a black with kicker red. You may pay an additional red as you cast it. 2/3 with menace. When he ETBs, if it was kicked, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Recursion till death, so not bad. I got a Fungarna. One of the Fungarnas. 1 black, 2 red. Whenever another creature you control dies, draw a card. Otherwise, or draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, Garner Blood Fist of Kel deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if it's attacking, it's card draw. If you're sacrificing it, it's another ping. And then Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. He's a fun one because he's a 1 black red. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Tap him, search your library for a card put in your hand, then shuffle. Activate this. Only 5 or more creatures died this turn. It's a big one, but every turn you're getting pretty much guaranteed to get a card to sack. So, and then the other ones I'm iffy on. So those are gonna probably sit with the card pile. And note, I have a few piles here. I have my artifacts. Not much. There's not much artifacts that you really need to run. My red pile. Oh, so not much. Black. There's just a lot of stuff with sacrifice in black. I'm going to probably go through artifacts first then. Um, yeah, that's probably not the best. First off, we're starting out quite strong. Bolas, the Citadel, 3 and 3 black. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Already really nice ability. You may play the top card of your library if you cast a spell this way. Pay life equal to its CMC rather than pay its mana cost. CMC being converted mana cost, so this one is 3 and 3 black, so its converted mana cost is 6. You can tap it to sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. Boss, a Citadel. It's a thing. Blood-soaked altar, not as strong. Still a fun one. Still interesting. 4 and 2 black. Also 6. Tap pays 2 life. Discard a card. Sacrifice a creature. Create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying. Activate this ability only at any time you could cast a sorcery. I'm iffy on this one, but it's still not bad. I'm very tired. So it's a iffy one. I'll put it off to the side. Keep it for if I need it. Sorry, a police car just passed. I don't know if you can still hear it in the background or not, but fun. I live on a major highway, so it's not new to me. So I get sirens fairly often. I have 2 artifacts remaining that I'm gonna most likely run. One being Profane Memento. Whenever a creature card is put into opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 1 life. It's one of the few life gains I get in this deck, especially if I make people sacrifice things. And Sorcerer's Broom. I don't know how good this is, but I find it fun for sacrifice decks, because it's 2 and a 2/1. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. Sacrifice something else. Pay 3, create a token. Sacrifice the token. That's all I need to say. Well, I am very, very tired, apparently. Going to red next, because it's the next smallest pile. Scorchmark. 1 in red. Deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead. That's just not good. It's not bad, but 2 costs for 2 damage. I'd rather just run a shock. Jaya Verniated Fire Mage. Planeswalker. 4 in red. 5 loyalty. If another red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 to that permanent or player instead. Probably gonna run that for pings. Really gonna run that for pings. Sorry, I keep yawning. It's a bad thing. You could hear it in my voice. Chandra Fire Artisan. 2 and 2 red. 4 loyalty. Passive. Whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra Fire Artisan, she deals that much damage to target opponent or player. So Jaya should do 8, because her ability is a -7. Oh, and Jaya's minus ability is -2 to deal 2 damage to any target. So she technically does 3. Chandra's, it has a +1, exile the top card of your library, you may play it this turn. Like I said, I don't like that, but her passive and the fact that it's a -7 to do the same for 7 cards instead of the top card. Yeah, I would like to run that rather than, other cards that do that, because she's a planeswalker, which will sometimes, depending on who you're playing with, have people target the planeswalker rather than your face, which in a deck that's probably not going to have much of a board besides Juri, that's gonna be nice. Goblin Ski Patrol. only if you can control a snow-covered mountain. I do not. I don't have any snow-covered mountains, so that's an old card that I can't run. That is a Gruul card. I cannot run that. That is a 2-1 with no abilities. Not going to run that. Fling, fun one. This one's probably going to be used mostly on Juri if you don't know what it does. It's 1 in a red, instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature power to any target. Juri's a 20/20. I'm going to fling Juri. Deals 20 to your face because he dies. Deals damage equal to his power to your face, and I'm gonna do the other 20 to your face because of fling. So music. I fucking hate this card. I'm probably gonna sideboard it unless I absolutely have to run it. Squee Monarch, the new Squee, absolute shit. I would rather have them reprinted the old Squee, or you can play it from Graveyard or Exile. It's 1 and 2 red, 2/1, I believe, where its only ability is you can play it from the Graveyard or Exile. They reprinted Squee, and I don't know if this is good. I don't like it though. I personally think it's a bad card. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but it's terrible in my opinion. For someone who plays goblins, I think the new Kranko is just a better card than this. The reason is, it's a 2 in a red, 2/2, haste. Whenever he attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. New Kranko gets a +1/+1 counter and creates tokens that aren't attacking, but he creates as many equal to his power, so it's just better. You may cast Squee Monarch from graveyard by paying 3 in red and exiling 4 other cards from the graveyard rather than paying its mana cost. In goblins, I understand you're not going to be running much recursion, but you're also not going to be running many cards besides tokens. So I'm gonna sideboard this with the intention of probably never tossing it in, because escape cost. I'm okay with the escape cost of Kroxa, and I'm not okay with Squee, because Kroxa, that's how he enters the battlefield, and he's a 6/6, and he exiles 5. Squee is a 2/2 that creates a 1/1 attacking by paying 3 in a red, so he's paying the same amount of mana to escape, and you're exiling 1 less card than you are for Kroxa, and he's just a generally worse card. I'm not gonna. It's a bad card. It's one of the few examples of reverse power creep. The old Squee is better than the new Squee. That's just fact. Phoenix Chick, foil. It's just a funny card. 1 red, 1/1 flying haste. Can't block. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may pay 2 red. If you do, return Phoenix Chick from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking with a 1/1 counter on it. I doubt that'll ever happen, but he recurs himself. And it's a funny first turn play. I can't run this. That's a second flang. Lightning Strike. I'm gonna iffy that. It's a 1 in a red to deal 3 damage to any target at instant speed. Not bad. Also not good. Now we're gonna get to some of my fun stuff. This is one of my cards that I put on top purposefully. Geth, Lord of the Vault, when he was released, he was really good. Very expensive. I think he got reprinted and nuked the price. 4 and 2 black for a 5/5. Intimidate. If you don't know what it is, it's an older mechanic. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share color with it. Funnily enough, as far as I'm aware, Intimidate is only on black cards. But they also have Fear, that is quite literally the same thing, except it reads artifact creatures or black creatures, I think, specifically. So it's funky. Um, his other ability that makes him really good is he is X in a black, no tap. Put target artifact or creature card with converted mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Then that player puts the top X cards of their library into their graveyard. It would be better in a Dermir Mill. I acknowledge Dermir Mill is probably a better deck for it. But fuck that. Because I want to steal people's stuff. And then sacrifice it and make them feel very sad and then just immediately put it back into play. Spark Reaper. 2 and a black, pay 3, sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, you gain 1 life and draw a card. It's usually the opposite. You usually lose a life and draw a card, or lose 2 life and draw 2 cards. So it's nice. It's a 2/3. Necrosynthesis, fun one. Probably going to be targeting mostly Juri with it. 1 and a black, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has, whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Effectively what Juri already has. When an enchanted creature dies, look at the top X cards of your library where X is its power. Put one of those cards in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Not only do I now ping you for a lot, I also get to search for a card effectively. Sanguine Spy, 2 and a black, 2/3 menace lifelink. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card in your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 5 or more mana values amongst cards in your graveyard, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. I'm gonna sideboard that one. Sanguine Spy can be good. The issue is I would have to necrosynthesis it, so it gains me more life that I'm probably gonna be losing from it. I don't know if people call him Gary. I call him Gary. Grey Merchant of Asphodel. 3 and 2 black. It's a 2/4. It's better than mono and black. I will admit. I might pull him out because I plan to make a Yargle. Yes, Yargle. The 9/3 with no keywords or other abilities. It's funny. I plan to make that a commander, so this would probably end up in there. But when Grey Merchant of Asphodel enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to life lost this way. And it's because it's an ETB trigger, I gain the life, they lose the life, and then you just immediately sack them away. I'm iffy on Deafened Straight. It's 2 and a black to destroy target creature without flying. I'll sideboard that. You can grab a murder that effectively does the same. I know murder's not terribly good. Most people would rather run Hero's Downfall or something. Whatever. Makrit Behemoth. 4 and a black. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 1 and a black. 7/6 with Menace. It's a 7/6 with Menace. It's a big blocker. It's also expensive, so. Fleshbag Marauder, 2 and a black. When a ETBs, each player sacrifices a creature. It's 3/1. So you have it enter, and then you just sacrifice it a second later. Phyrexian Rager. I know I've definitely gone over cards that I should have in this deck. I will trim it down. I still have a fuck ton of black cards to go through. Phyrexian Rager, 2 and a black, 2/2. When it ETBs, you draw a card and lose 1 life. I'm probably gonna sideboard that. I've got fun alt art braids. Arisen Nightmare, 1 and 2 black. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with that. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. I'm getting sacrifices. I'm getting cards. Cut down is probably better than Defend Straight for the most part as well. 1 black, destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. For the most part, that's probably when you're going to use it. Let's be honest. Like, defend straight, great card. It's fantastic, but there's just some points where it's just not worth it. That's Domain. That's not going to be good in 2-card deck. Nefarious Imp. 2 and a black. 2-1 flying. Whenever one or more permanents you control leave the battlefield, scry 1. That's a scry trigger. 1 things leave the battlefield. Undercity Enforcer. 2 and a black and 2/3. Pay 1, sacrifice a creature. Target player reviews the top card from his or her library until she reviews a land card, then puts those in the Juri graveyard. Another mill, whatever. Gavonian Hollowed. 3 and a black, 2/4. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on them. Ozoeth fodder thing. It's not bad. That's iffy. What I'm saying iffy is with this Technomancer, 3 and a black, 2/4. When ETB is sacrificed, you may sacrifice another creature you control. If you do, create a number of treasure tokens equal to its power. Good for sacrificing Juri, because you immediately sacrifice tokens to play Juri again to sacrifice the rest of the tokens. You can pay 3 and a black, sacrifice X artifacts, return to a creature card with power X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. X can't be 0. Really, really awesome recursion. Except for the fact that he now becomes the target because he is immediately being used to just... Actually, I have to think about this. Technically, you can go fairly infinite for Juri. I say fairly infinite because, Actually, no, you can. You can just straight up go infinite. Because with wait, is this a thing? Can you go infinite with Juri and Ruthless Technomancer and I'm just not realizing it? So let's say Juri has 4 counters on him. So you play Ruthless Technomancer, you sacrifice Juri. He is a 5/5 because he's got 4 counters and he's a 1/1. You ping a creature for 5. You create 5 tokens. You pay 3 using the tokens to... Yeah, you can. You pay 3 using the token. And actually, I think this is bare minimum. Pay 3 using tokens to sacrifice 2, because his mana cost is 2, to return Juri to the battlefield. And then, no, you can't, because Ozoeth is only at the beginning of combat. Do the counters go back on him? But realistically, in theory, you could, for the most part. If he gets big, you can just sacrifice him instead of standing him to the command zone. You send him to the graveyard to bring him back the same turn. And if he has, more than 4 counters on him, you're going to be not gaining tokens, which is always awesome. Tokens are stupid. I think they're one of the most broken mechanics, and I kind of hate to say it. Personally, I find they're overused nowadays. I've made so many decks where the whole main gimmick is create as many tokens as you can, and especially on Arena. MTG Arena is awesome for if you want to get into Magic, but the issue is that you can play Ulamog really early on if you get Wish and then just create a bunch of tokens. I pay 3 for Wish. I pay another 10 for Ulamog on turn 6. Way before you're supposed to have Ulamog. Granted, there's better and cheaper ways to put creatures into play. Monster Manual is one of them. Fun fact, my favorite game playing against someone with Monster Manual, I was playing one of my meme decks. I destroyed someone's Monster Manual after they played a Tarrasque 3rd turn. Something like that. 3rd or 4th turn. Tarrasque is a 10/10. Very big, very scary thing. I think I pacifismed the Tarrasque and destroyed the Monster Manual and they forfeited. No, I destroyed Monster Manual. I was playing my Goblin with I had a braid in it which is either it does 3 damage or you you destroy target artifact, and I destroyed Monster Manual after they got Tarask. And I had maybe 4 goblins in play. I think one of them was Kranko and another was Muxus, Goblin Grandee. But at the time, I had 4 goblins in play. He had enough means to kill me in like 4 turns. And he just forfeited because I nuked his Monster Manual. Don't play like that. Monster Manual is not a cool card, I don't think. I personally don't like playing against it. Bad. Also bad. That's one of the cards I discarded. Yeah, discarded, tossed to the side because it's trash. Deadly Dispute. 1 in a black. As an additional cost sack, play this sack artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. Card draw. And token. Nah. No, it's not worth it. Also not worth it. Merciless Executioner, 2 in a black. 3/1 when he ETBs, each player sacrifices a creature. Sturge, 1 black, 1/1 flying. Sturge can't block. Blood Drain, 1 in a black, pay 1 life, sacrifice Sturge. Draw a card. That's a weird one. That's not good. I don't like that. I love Jaren Corrupted Bishop, and I'm gonna sideboard him, but like he's such a hard card to play around because he's especially in Commander, he's a 2/3. He's 2-sided. When Jaren Corrupted Bishop enters the battlefield or another non-token human you control dies, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 white human creature token. Life loss, I don't really like. Like I said, you're not going to have much aboard, so you really want as much life as you want. Pay 2, target human you control gains lifelink until end of turn. Nice thing, Juri is a human shaman. Really nice for Jaren. But at the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, you may pay 4 and 2 black to transform Jaren. Starting at 40, you're very unlikely to hit 13, I'll be honest. And Armendahel the Corruptor, his backside, is a 6/6 flying trample lifelink. Sacrifice another creature, draw a card. Really, really nice. But it's so hard to hit, I don't know if it's worth. Chain Devil. 3 in a black. Animate Chains. When Chain Devil ETBs, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. That's really good, especially if you're playing against token decks, because it's non-token. That's terrible. I think I already have a Garter Goons. Fetid Imp is fun, but not terribly good. Visions of Dread. 2 in a black. Target opponent puts a creature card of their choice from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That can be bad. That can also be good. So, you've got 1 creature in your graveyard. Put it in my play, please. Flashback, 8 and 2 black. The spell costs X last to cast this way, where X is the greatest mana value of a commander you own in the battlefield or on the command zone. That's not bad. Tirgrid's Shadow, 3 and 2 black. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Foretell 2 in a black. During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it later for its foretell cost. So technically, you're paying more for foretelling it, but you're paying less later. Unholy Indenture. 2 in a black. Enchant creature. When an enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control with a +1/+1 counter on it. And one of my unironically favorite cards, but like I love it, Discordant Piper, and he's going to be in the deck because he's terrible and I love him. He's a 2/1, 1 in a black. When Discordant Piper dies, create a 0/1 goat creature token. His flavored text is one of my favorite as well. The death of the party. So yeah. This is just a quick, hey, this is probably what's going to go into the deck at some point. I will hopefully at some point come back and remember that I put out this video. I'm going to put out this video. I will at some point, hopefully, because I'm going to be hopping in a call with a friend here soon, I will hopefully remember that I started making a video and say, hey, this is what I ended up putting in the deck, and this is what it's become. Have a look. Otherwise, until next time, I wish you all luck, and play Magic well. Play Magic if you can, man. I don't have the ability to play Magic anymore, like, freely, because I used to do it at school for Friday Night Magic night, and there's no local game stores by me that are pure Magic, so sad. Anyway, I have to clean up my desk because I had to move my keyboard to make space for cards. Anyway, I hope all of you have a fantastic day/night. Wish you a good night if you do. Wish you a good day if you're in the morning or whenever. And just I hope things work well for everyone. Anyway, see you.